Capricorn, now is never been a better time to get a new view, a higher perspective, following your true compass this week. Welcome to Channel the Future Tarot. This will be for the Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus signs of Capricorn. Take the messages that resonate with you and toss the universe what does not. It's not meant for you, and that's okay. Capricorn, shifting and changing immensely this week. We are trying something completely new here. We're doing the Tower card spread. Now, don't be alarmed by this. The Tower is a spiritually metamorphical time where we can transform and change and see what structures need to be changed or transformed within our dynamic and our lives. It's nothing bad. It can be very liberating. So with that, as I was meditating on your energies, we're going to jump into what that means for you, Capricorn, in a second. But before that, we are going to use this singing bowl here. Take that deep breath in and exhale whenever you feel so inclined to do so. As I was meditating on your energy, there was a huge sense of following your inner compass, and right now a little sense of being out of alignment with it. Now, you got the compass in reverse. Again, following your true north is what's important. For some time, being a little bit out of alignment has caused a lot of restriction there for you. A lot of, seeing things from one side or not getting a full perspective. And then that's why I say that is because you got a 20 flying high, flying above to get a different perspective, taking a higher view. You're really going to get some information this week about something that you have maybe not been able to make a decision on, and it's going to transform and change for you. You've got inner power here coming out for you. Today, I choose to see myself as significant. I acknowledge my true strength. I remain steadfast in the face of adversity. If I stumble, I pick myself up, knowing that I am filled with the universe and the power of the universe. I accept and appreciate myself in every way. I contain the most precious treasures of this world within me, and the universe shines within me and through me. Beautiful stuff for you, Capricorn. Understanding, again, true power is huge. We also got it's time to give rather than take. A new moon in Virgo. We are having that full moon in Libra coming up here on the 12th. And this is, a very powerful energetic balancing time for us, as, the house of Libra represents that balancing act. So I feel like it's going to be a real transformational time for you. But you're really learning about give and take, and who's, giving and taking more in most of your situations and relationships. A new start is coming with that new moon, right? And I feel like maybe by the time the new moon comes, Capricorn, you're going to start to see a massive shift or change in some of the structures and dynamics that have been, holding root for you. Let's take this Tower card spread into the nitty-gritty here. So cards 1 to 4 will represent the structure. What I mean by that is 1 will be what foundational principles, beliefs, or, structures are going to kind of be challenged or torn for you at this time, Capricorn. Number 2 will be why. Number 3 is how you can sort of ease this transition. And number 4 is what the lesson is in the shakeup for you. Cards 5 to 7 will represent that lightning strike, 5 will be release, rethink for number 6, and number 7 will be what you're going to be rebuilding. It is positive and liberating stuff, but it's not for the faint of the heart. It is when you want to take an honest appraisal of what needs to be ripped, torn away, whether you want it to be or not. So let's take a look at what's coming in for Capricorn. What foundational beliefs, principles, or structures are kind of being challenged for Capricorn at this time? What is being challenged? I see that High Priestess there and that Chariot card for you. Okay. That 5 of Wands. Okay, yeah, conflict. So the conflict that you've been in some situation, whatever you've been at work, within your family dynamic, there has been a conflict, and the universe is shaking this up. It is time to drop it, because what is being challenged there is important for you to see. There's a message here for that. So let's see, why is this being challenged for Capricorn? That is an Aries, Leo, Sagittarius energy as well. We got that Hermit card coming out, Virgo energy. So why it's coming out is because there's a time and a need for introspection there. We'll break this all down and clarify it in a second, but I just want to get all cards out here. We're going to take a look at how you can ease this transition, Capricorn. How can Capricorn ease this transition? We got the Five of Pentacles out. Poverty mindset, okay? You know, there's... Stop worrying. I feel like that's important here. You have double fives out as well. So that's, you know, equals a 10, endings and new beginnings. What is the lesson in this shakeup for Capricorn? What is the lesson in the shakeup here? The Page of Cups, okay. It could be following your own intuition, you know, having a sense of, you know, I want to say childlike innocence again, in a way. What can Capricorn release in this lightning strike moment for them? What can Capricorn release in this Tower moment? Holy macaronis, the Five of Cups coming out here for you. Triple fives. You are definitely going to be releasing some, you know, despair, disappointment energy that is needed here. What does Capricorn need to rethink in this Tower moment? 555, angel number out for you as well. Powerful number. So check that out. Could have a lot of influence for you. We got the Eight of Wands. Okay, so you're moving past this. This is what you need to rethink, your sort of strategy, your way of sort of attack, your way of, you know, allowing these energies to come into you. So you could just be getting on a little bit, not on the defensive, but moving out of the way, I feel like, of just the fire, essentially. What does Capricorn need to rebuild here? What are they going to rebuild from this Tower moment? What are they going to be rebuilding? That Three of Wands. Okay, look at that. You're going to be a new horizon, a new beginning. This is what you're rebuilding. A new, exactly, a new future going on there. You have the Ten of Cups on the bottom of the deck. That is everything, your wish fulfillment. That is happy life. You're manifesting it into being here, Capricorn, and I like to see that for you. That is where your positive energy is starting to come back into being. You're starting to see that, okay, this sort of Tower moment that was initiated is not meant to kind of, it's not happening to you, it's happening for you. Can I clarify that Five of Wands for Capricorn, please? Can we clarify the Five of Wands for Capricorn? Clarifying the Five of Wands for Capricorn. That Wheel of Fortune card coming out. It is coming out in reverse. It's a card. If this is faded, it's sort of resisting that change, trying to resist the cycle, not seeing the cycle, the closure that is trying to come in for you. Can I get that Hermit? Can I clarify that Hermit card for Capricorn? You know, if you've been going through tough times, the Wheel of Fortune kind of iterates that, you know, the wheel is always changing, and I feel like this is, you know, bringing in better things to come. Can you clarify that Hermit card? The Eight of Cups in reverse. Again, you're resisting from walking away here. There's a time of introspection, and it will give you that opportunity to, you know, be able to walk away and, you know, see what it is that needs to be done here. Can we clarify that Five of Pentacles for Capricorn? Whatever you've been trying not to, you know, have to pick up or leave or walk away from, the universe is coming in to really shake this up for you because it has to go. We have that Knight of Wands coming out in reverse. Gotta get up on that horse and go forward. You're resisting the change here a lot. Page of Cups, clarifying that Page of Cups here for Capricorn. Clarifying that Page of Cups for Capricorn. The Ace of Cups in reverse. The lesson here is maybe you've openly kind of given your love freely in the past, and it was not reciprocated, right? That's the lesson in the shakeup. You gave it, it was not received in the same way, and it has been just heartbreaking for you in a lot of ways. My heart goes out to you truly. This is a very painful time. I see that. Can we clarify that Five of Cups for Capricorn? You also just have the double eights out here as well. You got that Empress card in reverse. You need to nurture yourself back into being. You have to find your way, your inner strength, right? Can I clarify that 8 of Wands for Capricorn, please? Clarifying that 8 of Wands for Capricorn. The Page of Cups coming out again. So this is new information. You can you know, your vulnerability is sort of coming here over and over again because you keep putting yourself out there. I feel like in some ways, just you need to rethink the way you offer your cup, right? The way you open up to somebody so easily, the way you trust in some ways. Not telling you not to trust, because I don't want you to become jaded, but I'm saying just don't so easily believe everything that's being put in front of your face in that way. The King of Swords, to clarify that 3 of Wands, you need to use your intellect, your mind, your power to get to the root of the issue. The Moon card is on the bottom of the deck. We do have that full moon in Libra. And the Fool on there underneath that as well. This is going to be a time where it is a painful liberation, a painful truth that's coming to be that you have sort of been just not wanting to accept, not wanting to see. I get it. The time of when you're in pain, nobody wants to admit that, you know, or accept that they're there and what they have to do. This 5 of Wands is that it's an energy where when conflict exists among our internal family members, right, and when we kind of try to pick a side and silence, you know, all, you know, people involved, but since we can't get rid of anyone, you know, we tend to wear ourselves out by suppressing one part of ourselves or another, right? We just suppress ourselves to get along with other people. And I feel like you've been doing that for a long time. And I feel like the next time you feel stuck, if you can recognize which parts are, you know, are in conflict and then sort of validate each right part, you know, path right to exist, you kind of see multiple perspectives rather than try to pick a side. You know, you can open up to possibilities beyond the tempting, you know, what is right, what is wrong, binary or either, right? This is a sense of looking at both sides, stepping back. And I feel like this structure that's the Tower moment that's happening for you, Capricorn, is really kind of just trying to let you know that the whatever you've been, the path that you've been going on necessarily isn't working because it wasn't necessarily meant for you, not because you're doing something wrong here. And like I said, it feels like it's happening to you and not for you, and you're always running into bad luck here, I feel like. But you have a choice. You can either be at cause or you can be at effect here. And that's really what as harsh as it sounds, is meant to be a little bit. So, you know, this is a sense of why are you so stuck? Well, it's because you're choosing to be a little bit stuck in this limbo, right? You have to get up and pick yourself up and, you know, dust yourself off here. I feel like there's an energy where why this is happening, because you have to, this notion of, you know, where our emotional and rational minds link and wisdom is gained here in that wise mind. I feel like this stands for the totality of things, the Hermit card here, where nothing's black or white, this or that, all seeming things are opposite, are identical in nature, different only in degree. This is what's important for you right now. Both traditions here, I feel like, seem to understand that peace is not available in the land of opposites, right? The Hermit's peace does not represent a destination or a fixed place, rather than a flux state that one can come in and out of through time, right? This is what I want to say. So this is why I feel like, you know, this is in many decks that the Hermit's pictured as walking. It's because it's a metaphor for the way a person who is at peace with the flux state of reality, they're, you know, moving through it. So the Hermit invites you sort of to embrace the sometimes seemingly conflicting realities of changing and being stuck, expanding and contracting, living, dying, you know what I mean? Accept what is. Move. The universe is telling you, shake up the structures of that rigid belief system that you have to be in one way or another. You're stuck in a frame, right? The 8 of Cups in a verse says just that, stuck in that. Instead of getting up and walking away, you're stuck thinking, procrastinating about one way or another. Do you stay? Do you go? Right? You're caught between walking away from a disappointing situation or trying one last time to make things better here. But, you know, can the circumstances really improve? Is it a lost cause? Right? I feel like, you know, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but I think so. This 5 of Pentacles, you know, this is what can ease the situation. I feel like is understanding that it isn't meant to sort of be fixed in a situation. you know, the present moment's not always an easy place to be, right? It takes some skill to be here, right? But the ability to be present seems to be that prerequisite for being and living a fulfilled life. So if you can't do it here, you're not going to be able to do it anywhere. You know what I'm saying? So if one day you woke up and everything you ever wanted and needed was right in front of you, without the capacity to be present, you'd just be like that. You'd just be as ill-equipped, you know, to enjoy it as you were before you had it, right? Just as the characters, I feel like, like, you know what I mean? That poverty mindset, right? They're the presence of nourishment. They can't seem to access it, right? Because leaving the present might be what, you know, some people say is, you know, a nourishment barrier, a defense that blocks us from actually absorbing what's necessary, right? We do so because we just, you know, the things we experience put us there, right? There's a barrier that compulsively, you know, scheming about another time or place to avoid the pain of the present is what's sort of happening here. You know, it likely helped you survive a long time, but you don't need it anymore, Capricorn. Maybe you didn't have a better way to, you know, or to be safe in that, so you do now. The present moment can often, you know, and often does contain pain, right? But maybe, you know, you have what you need to cope with it. Maybe you can still address it in a different way. And maybe that's why it's coming up, is the universe is saying, okay, now you're strong enough to actually address the pain. You've learned some lessons. You've understood what it is. And so you're on a different wavelength, right? That Knight of Wands in reverse here is you could be acting a little bit impulsively, trying to accomplish everything at once. It could work in the short term, but long term, you're going to burn out, right? So you need to constructively channel and build that energy up, instead of just pushing it out there. So a constructive rebalancing is definitely necessary. Like I said, what is in this lesson? This lesson is that innocent, childlike self that you have sort of lost, you know, connection with, right? And that's because life has got you in a jaded sense, right? But shame is a powerful motivator, and it can stimulate that intense urge to push away and avoid whatever emotions it comes with. I believe it is possible to uncouple an emotion from shame so that it feels less intense when it comes, you know, up in the present. So we do this by seeking and creating spaces to process our feelings without any judgment, right? We're never wrong for feeling, period, end of the day. Feeling doesn't make fact, but you're never wrong for feeling it. And that's what's important to understand. Ace of Cups, your feelings are not wrong, no matter how many times you've been told that they're not wrong. Somebody may not necessarily agree with them, but that doesn't make them wrong. Okay, so that Ace of Cups in reverse is something, a new part of you is calling, you know, but you're not ready to sort of be, you know, in the public or any pursuit. That's okay. You're experiencing a flood of emotion, but you're keeping it contained. You're unhidden from others, and I think that's okay to do so in this moment. You're finding your balance. This Five of Cups is you know, we need to sort of release the pain, this disappointment. That's what you need to release this Five of Cups for, because it's served its purpose, it's told its story, and it's left its imprint, right? But it is, you know, for many, this is a useful metaphor about the power of perspective, because I think we risk missing out on something crucial if we don't learn to look straight, you know, at the cups in our own lives that have been spilled, right? Though it's not always easy, we develop that capacity to look at and learn from painful situations without getting stuck in self-pity or despair, right? Shame can make it hard to look directly at our mistakes, right? But with, you know, practice, we learn to feel the impacts and let the consequences actually teach us. So we cultivate that tolerance to explore, you know, missteps, compassion, and with compassion and curiosity, right? So we have a better sense of what led to the painful situation in the first place. That's what's sort of happening for you. And you're doing it in a nurturing, positive way with that Empress. You're nurturing your heart back to being. And you're doing it from a place of understanding, right? You really want to know why and what, you know, and how this was able to happen in the first place. You need to rethink the ability to be, you know, attacked or just kind of, you know, in the way of you know, everybody's fire here. And I feel like that Eight of Wands is saying, just sort of get out of that energy. You know, this is what falls within our sphere of influence and what lies beyond with it, right? I feel like what can make the allowing part of life so challenging is that it sometimes is too painful or uncomfortable to bear when reality doesn't line up with what we want, right? So And the image of 8 wands being launched into the air without attachment to where they fall is a visual metaphor for the balance between exerting will and allowing. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like just as the photographic capture of a moment that will never look the same again. You know what I'm saying? No two situations are the same either. So if you work first on allowing, letting what's inside of us and what's inside, the world around us to exist, that's when, we do exert will, and we can do so from a place that's being grounded in what is. You know what I'm saying? You're learning how to make it sort of balance in your way, so that you can open up your heart and compassion and self again in a newfound way. 3 of Wands, that new horizon is right on the precipice for you. You just have to take that step, Capricorn. And I feel like this is the aftermath of, struck out on one's luck, right? And I feel like this is someone that, if you're asking questions about how to be a beginner in a way that feels scary or compromise the life you come to depend on, consider that perhaps you're very lucky. You're making a choice to leave, the comfort of what you know for something where learning is possible, where, it's different, and that's okay too. The King of Swords is saying there's opportunity. Use your mind and intellect to get you forward. Rethink and rebuild your strategy going forward. Do it different than you have. But this is the time where you're truly, redirecting your focus back to what's true north here, your compass, really, at the end of the day. Until next time, namaste.